Hey guys, we're back and we're going to be discussing some more games this week. These are smaller indie development teams than the games we looked at last week. And just to start off, I want to make the distinction that many of these games are inspired by three titles from about 10-15 years ago. And the one we're looking at now is inspired mostly by a game called Tribes. And a couple of years ago there was a remake called Tribes Ascend, which did quite well by High Res, and this title's called Project Freefall. Do you want to?
Yep, this is, so the way they talk about it is that it's a combination really of the elements of Quake and the elements of Tribes, which sounds pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
It's got skiing from Tribes, but it's also got a combination of some massive maps like Tribes and some much smaller maps like Quake.
Yeah, right now we're looking at kind of just skiing through a very kind of open, kind of mountainous zone, and it looks very much like Tribes Ascend from my kind of perspective. It'd be interesting
the difference is you won't be having just two weapons on you.
Yeah,
they've got a whole load of weapons in there, and just like in Quake, you could be holding 8 weapons at once.
Yeah, that's one of the things not that frustrated me about Tribes Ascend, but I couldn't really get into it because I do prefer having a larger arsenal, and it'd be cool seeing a game with similar mechanics but with more kind of variety in your arsenal. And I believe this isn't a class-based shooter like Tribes was. Is that right?
No, I believe it's like Quake single class.
Yeah. So this looks really good.
It's built by 2 developers. One of them is called Greth, and the other one's called Sakaade.
Yeah, and
right?
They're still quite early in development. There's not a public alpha yet.
Yeah, there is actually.
Oh,
yeah,
there is.
You can
okay.
download. Well, it's really early. So
yeah,
he's been switching around on different engines. He's using Unreal Engine 4 now.
Yeah.
And you can download the alpha from the website.
Okay, and we'll put a link in that in the description and hopefully an annotation. Do you want to move on to the next game?
Yep. Up next is #Wrecked.
Yeah.
So this is there's also a public alpha for this one. It's more inspired by Quake than anything else really.
Yeah. So
it's got things like jetpacks and wall jumps, but it is very Quake-like.
Yeah, it's got some interesting models. I quite like the ram kind of. I don't even know what kind of weapon it is, but it
seems like for each weapon is a ram with a different colour.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like a
I don't know if that
placeholder, but it's kind of gothic aesthetics, similar to what was the game we were looking at last week? Can you remind me? The last one we looked at.
Wickland.
Yeah, Wickland. So that kind of opposed to kind of the futuristic games like the Next General Tournament, more kind of a gothic feel, and
I believe the main guy in charge of it is from Texas. That might be
oh really? Okay.
That might be a inspiration for the Rams head.
Possibly, but it's only is it a small 2 developers or a single developer that's working on this?
There's 3. I think only one of them is a developer.
Oh, okay. But this should be interesting too.
Yeah, they had a little mini Freefall tournament at QuakeCon.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And they also had other people playing. I think Rafa tried the game out and said he enjoyed it. So
cool.
It's gotten out there, but just waiting. You can download a version of it now, but I think it's just waiting for updates at this point.
Yeah, I mean a lot of these games, because they're small development teams, the updates can be quite few and far between, and obviously if people aren't earning much money off these currently, then the development's going to be a lot slower than the...
Yeah, it's not a full-time job for any of these guys in this video.
So, shall we move on to the next game?
Yeah, so this is Telos. This one's a fun one.
Yeah.
This isn't like Quake or Tribes or UT or anything like that.
This is... It reminds me a little bit of... I don't know if you played a game called Jedi Knight Arena.
Yeah.
And there was a mod for that called JA+, and it had like a grappling hook as kind of one of its main features. And I used to spend hours just grappling around maps, and I'm really excited for this, just because it kind of brings back that memories of grappling around and swinging and flying through space. And
yeah, this is definitely a new sort of title. So you don't play as a human or a humanoid robot or anything like that. You play as a spider mech, similar to Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, like it reminded me of that actually.
And the hook is essentially a web, I suppose.
Yeah.
And you sort of, and he's incorporated like zero G and things like that.
Yeah, there's certain areas that kind of zero G areas, and then there's other areas which are kind of traditional, kind of just run around and jump and.
Yeah, so there's lots of cool weapons that he's working on now, and then there's tons of just flying around all over the place, going to zero G and stuff. So it looks like Capture the Flag in this game will be really fun.
Yeah, definitely, and I love the art style.
What's that? Sorry.
I love the art style. It's just very different to a lot of the other games.
Very colourful.
And who's it made by?
It's made by a guy called Justin. He's the only person doing it. I think his company is Overpowered Games.
Okay.
I think that's right.
And is there available to get this game yet, or are you waiting on?
No, this one is not publicly available yet.
Right. Okay.
But I hope it becomes publicly available soon.
Yeah, I think this was one of the first games I saw in development, because there was a post on Reddit about a year ago almost, I think, one of the first previews. So I can be looking forward to seeing this, because it was one of the first kind of new arena FPS games that I saw. Shall we move on to Terminal Overload?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Terminal Overload.
No.
I haven't downloaded I know you can download the alpha, but I haven't downloaded it yet. It looks like there's some Tribes influence.
Yeah, it's kind of, there seems to be skiing, and it's kind of almost like a Tron like graphic style.
It's based on it's a remake of another game.
Okay.
I think by the same guy. I need to remember what the name is. It's something like, it's a really ridiculous name, like something cat overload or something. But it's I think that game was well received by the people that played it, and then this is the update to it. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool on some smaller maps.
Yeah, I
know
think
if
so.
he intends to do that.
And again, another, like, I love CTF on kind of these more skiing type movement systems.
Yeah.
Or like the more fast and free and kind of interesting movement systems, rather than just where you can dodge a bit. So
yeah.
If anything else, this game looks like it'll be kind of a really fun CTF game. And the graphics style is interesting. It's very kind of like wireframe and almost as if it's in a Tron inspired universe.
Yeah, the gun's huge. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. This is Warzone.
So this one is definitely Quake / Warsaw / Sonotic inspired.
Yeah.
It's called Warzone because it's using, in its development stage, it's using the same engine as Warsaw, which is Q Fusion, which I believe is the Quake 2 engine, or a modified version of that. It's using assets from Sonotic and another game, just as placeholders until he gets his own assets in there.
Yeah, it's using some Quake assets as well, by the looks of it. So
it's got wall dashes and regular dashes like Warsaw does.
Yeah.
It's got air control, crouch sliding. It's got a jetpack in there. It's got, I think that's a pick-upable item, the jetpack, but it's not hugely breaking the mold in terms of game design or arena FPS game design.
I mean, Warsaw itself never really rocked the boat too much, and I guess what he's trying to do is kind of recreate Warsaw with more movement options and kind of a bit more, expand on it a bit more. Yeah,
it's a single developer. His name's Xtone.
Okay.
And he had a Freefall tournament which was casted on Zoot Stream actually, which is pretty good. Cool. And it was a fun tournament. I think 0QL won. I think then he went on to donate the money to a Zonotic tournament afterwards.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's quite nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Where kind of the different games are kind of supporting each other in a way, or the players are supporting lots of different games.
Yeah. It's but it's not a huge mold breaker. It looks like a fun game, and it is a fun game. I've played it. You can download the alpha from the Warzone website.
Cool.
It's on its second version now.
And my opinion of all these games are that the genre of arena FPS is really going to benefit from more games in the genre being developed.
Yeah.
It's it's not a waste of effort, even if it only has a small number of players, because they might go on to play Reflex or Reborn or one of the new other games, and some of the Reborn and Reflex players might want to come back and play this.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of these will be free as well when they're...
Yeah, definitely. So it's not quite... I don't think there's going to be a critical mass of players only wanting to play a single game. I mean, there's going to be certain titles which, like the UT, I think that's going to have a lot more than all the others, because of Epic's behind it, but I think a lot of the smaller games are really going to have to, although they are just going to support each other.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if I have the time, I'll play a couple of different Quake games. I'll play Reflex, I'll play Warsaw, Tribes, I'll play Xenotics. So I play. It's not like I just restrict myself to one game, and I imagine other people in Arena FPS are going to be the same. So.
Yeah, and also, like, unless you're super high level in any of these games, like, just playing one's going to benefit you in the other ones. Like, being good at strafe jumping in, like, Quake, for example, is going to help in any of the other games we're talking about. Even if it's
quite a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like it's a wasted effort. Even if you just play one for a while, then you decide you don't like it when you want to play something else. So
yeah.
that's a list of all the smaller indie developments that we've been covering, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And we've got some more content coming up very soon. Do you want to say anything else just before we wrap up?
No, I think that's everything. Cheers, guys.
Brilliant. Cheers. Thank you.